Hello, you're watching News Mongolia on MNB World, and I'm your host, Ulaanbaatar. For our top stories: pedestrian footpaths to expand 9-fold, bike lanes 20 times, and roads extended by 17,000 kilometers. Over 25,000 drunk driving cases reported in Mongolia last year. Honorary Consul of Mongolia in Scotland assumes office. For other news, stay tuned. During its regular meeting, the Mongolian government reviewed two significant agendas: the draft law on reducing air and environmental pollution in Ulaanbaatar, and the city's general development plan through to 2040.
Ulaanbaatar's mayor and governor Ulaanbaatar presented the meeting's outcomes, emphasizing the strategic vision for the city's future development.
Ulaanbaatar first approved its general development plan back in 1954. Since then, this marks the 6th revision, which has now been submitted to Parliament. By 2040, the city's population is expected to reach about 2.5 million. To meet their needs, we have prepared a plan focusing on expanding essential public services, increasing green spaces, enhancing public transportation, developing road networks, and ensuring adequate food supplies.
Key goals include expanding pedestrian footpaths 9-fold and bike lanes 20-fold, extending the road network by about 17,000 kilometers to improve traffic flow, raising average rush hour speeds from 9 to 22.5 km per hour, ensuring centralized or partial heating coverage for approximately 80% of households. The mayor highlighted that the 2040 plan builds on an evaluation of the previous General Development Plan up to 2020, which was implemented by less than 30%. Financial constraints and inadequate infrastructure investment were identified as the primary reasons for shortcomings, such as overburdened utilities and housing policies focused on urban densification. The implementation of the new 2040 plan is projected to require 240 trillion Mongolian tokrix. Of these, 120 trillion Mongolian tokrix will come from state and city budgets to fund engineering, heating, and electricity infrastructure expansions. Additionally, 120 trillion MNT worth of development projects will be carried out through public-private partnerships in areas with established technical and engineering capacities. The ambitious plan aims to address critical urban challenges while laying the foundation for a sustainable and livable Ulaanbaatar.
In 2024, over 25,000 cases of driving under the influence were recorded in Mongolia, averaging 25 incidents daily. Despite the introduction of stricter laws, this issue persists, resulting in significant consequences.
Among the cases reported last year, authorities documented 1,730 instances of driving under the influence-related incidents, which led to 217 injuries and 67 fatalities. These alarming figures highlight the ongoing challenge of addressing driving under the influence offenses despite tightened regulations. Under the criminal codes of Mongolia, driving under the influence offenders face serious penalties. These include suspension of driving privileges for 1 to 3 years, fines ranging from 2.7 to 14 million Mongolian tugruks, 240 to 720 hours of mandatory public work, movement restrictions for 6 months to 3 years, or detention from the same duration.
They often give each other some leeway, such as allowing someone to drive drunk because their home or destination is nearby, or letting a colleague drive despite being unfit, assuming it's fine since they're traveling together. From our side, we are actively implementing preventive measures. If we examine the age range, most of them are young people seeking legal advice on such matters. Most importantly, even if the issue is resolved with a minor fine or community service, it will still result in the driver having a criminal record, so please be mindful.
On weekends and holidays, approximately 50 driving under the influence cases are reported, while weekdays see a consistent daily average of about 25 cases. Notably, the number of weekend and holiday cases have decreased by 30% compared to the same period last year, but weekday figures have remained the same, posing a continuous challenge for law enforcement and public safety. The need for stronger preventative measures and awareness campaigns remains critical as Mongolia grapples with this pressing issue.
You're watching News Mongolia. Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
Archie Miller Bakewell has officially begun his duties as the Honorary Consul of Mongolia in Edinburgh, United Kingdom. Ambassador of Mongolia Ingsuk presented the official patent and seal from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia to formalize his appointment. The ambassador highlighted the consul's responsibilities, including protecting the rights and interests of Mongolian citizens and entities in the jurisdiction, and extended his best wishes for success. Mr. Bakewell, a graduate of Eton College and Cambridge University, brings extensive experience, having served in the British Army, Ministry of Defense, and as a military attaché in Mongolia and China. He also worked as a personal assistant to the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, from 2011 to 2021.
Now let's shift our attention to currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Let us take a look at foreign news provided by our international partner news agencies. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said on Wednesday the victims of sexual abuse by grooming gangs needed action, not another inquiry, as opposition leader Kemi Badenoch pressed for a national inquiry to be held.
Covering Oldham and reasonable people.
A huge 7-year inquiry was held under the previous Conservative government, though many of the 20 recommendations it made in 2022, including compensation for abuse victims, have yet to be implemented. Starmer's government said it would act on them as quickly as possible.
There have been a number of inquiries, both national and local, including one covering Oldham, and reasonable people can agree or disagree on whether a further inquiry is necessary. This morning I met some of the victims and survivors of this scandal, and they were clear with me that they want action now, not the delay of a further inquiry. The J inquiry, the last national inquiry, was 7 years, which would take us with a further inquiry to 2031. I think action is what's required. But whatever your view, whatever anyone's view on whether a further inquiry is needed, what I find shocking is that anyone in this House would vote down the Children's Wellbeing Bill this afternoon, which is vital protections for the most vulnerable in our society. And I urge the Leader of the Opposition to withdraw her wrecking amendment.
The exchange regards a series of cases that rock northern England towns in which groups of men largely from Pakistani backgrounds were tried for grooming and abusing dozens of girls. The cases have been used by far-right activists to link child abuse to immigration and to accuse politicians of covering up the grooming gangs out of fear of appearing racist.
This is not about the Prime Minister's work in the CPS. And I would say very respectfully to the Prime Minister, it's not about you, it is about the victims. Be a leader, not a lawyer. We know that people were scared to tell the truth because they thought they would be called racist. If we want to stop this from ever happening again, we cannot be afraid.
The billionaire Tesla CEO Elon Musk has taken an intense and erratic interest in British politics and has recently focused on these cases. Musk has posted a demand for a new public inquiry into the cases and has accused Starmer of failing to bring perpetrators to justice when he was England's Director of Public Prosecutions between 2008 and 2013. The main UK beneficiary of Musk's interest in British politics has been Reform UK, the hard-right party led by Nigel Farage, that has just 5 seats in the 650-seat House of Commons, but big expansion plans. Farage said last month that Musk was considering making a multi-million-dollar donation to the party. But Farage is critical of Stephen Yaxley-Lennon, a far-right activist who goes by the name Tommy Robinson, who is serving a prison sentence for contempt of court. Musk has called for his release. Farage has refused to let Robinson join Reform, and on Sunday Musk posted, "The Reform Party needs a new leader. Farage doesn't have what it takes." Liberal Democrat leader Ed Davey on Wednesday said the specter of the richest man in the world trying to buy a British political party should give them all pause for thought.
Over 46,000 people have been relocated following a 6.8 magnitude earthquake in Dinghui County, located in southwest China's Xizang Autonomous Region. Emergency operations are continuing as rescue teams continue working to locate any possible survivors. For the latest updates, CGTN reporter Gong Ming provides comprehensive coverage of the situation.
According to the latest press briefing, as of now, Xizang has deployed over 12,000 personnel from various levels of emergency rescue teams and social rescue forces to carry out search and rescue operations. A total of 407 trapped individuals have been rescued. 14 relocations and resettlement sites have been established, and more than 46,500 disaster-affected residents have been relocated and settled. As of now, all road sections damaged by the earthquake have been fully repaired, and according to the latest status, there has been no further increase in casualties from the earthquake. So this afternoon, we actually arrived in Changshuoxiang, one of the areas most severely affected by the earthquake. And based on the visits to several rescue and resettlement sites, we know that now a comprehensive assessment of disaster conditions in the villages and towns has been completed. So the current focus of relief efforts has gradually shifted to resettling and assisting disaster victims, as well as conducting follow-up inspections of damaged buildings. And due to the dispersed nature of villages in this epicenter area, no large-scale centralized resettlement sites have been established. So instead, tents like this have been set up in safe areas within each village. CGTN Gongmin for MNB World, Dingzhi County.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Goodbye.